Welcome, everybody. Episode number 26 of the latest. Brad, great to see you.
Great to see you, David. Welcome, everybody.
Um, Lots happening as usual. Towards the end of the catch up yesterday, um, I hadn't even heard really, to be honest, about Veo and Flow and some of the things we'll share today. But I was like, oh, I'm all caught up, after the catch up. And then I'm like, wait a minute, brand new things happening. So I gotta jump on it tonight. Which I haven't. Busy days, stuff happening, exciting things. Um, so anyway, but I'll be showing, I'm gonna learn just like everybody else today when I put up Google Flow. Now, Brad, have you not had your V8 this morning? You're looking a little out of focus.
I know. Let me turn my camera back on and off because it's going
Yeah,
wild here. What's
got
going
it.
on?
Oh, I think you got it now.
Hold on, one second.
So Brad will be back. This morning we have a few things to share with everybody. Really just some of the latest tools that have come out, new things we've discovered about some of the tools you may have seen every Wednesday at 10 on our LinkedIn and YouTube. It'll be on a different YouTube, but on our LinkedIn's, Brad and I and Harvey and Michael and Brooks, you could find the catch up where each week we go deep into a tool that you probably have used because you probably heard about it here months ago. Yesterday we did a deep dive on Gamma. That was really great. Week before that, ChatGPT. Um, yeah, okay, Brad, you're looking good.
I
Right,
am not normally on this camera angle, so I'm not normally set up for it. I gotta
behind
move.
the scenes. I got
We're,
you.
we're behind the scenes. That's all right. Well, for today, we've got a different look. Now I'm talking to you down here instead
Right.
of over here.
Well,
Yeah, this my camera's not set up, so now I'm going to be looking up here. Normally, I have it set up so I can see both my screen and the audience. But let's have a look. So, as we say here on the latest, so much continues to change. So many softwares are launching, and so many workflows keep pivoting because not only do these tools improve, they improve at such a rate that you kind of have to use it. Like the leap in communication from regular communication to like the fax machine. All of a sudden you had to use the fax machine because other people were like, hey, I just sent everyone the same message instantly. You're like, oh, I got to use that. With social media, the same thing happened for business. All of a sudden people were sending the same message out to everybody. And you said, oh, I kind of have to use that. And now the trend in 2023, 4, and 5 has been to use video to communicate with your audience and people using social media plus video, which means that someone is creating some kind of video. And in the last 6 weeks to 6 months, the quality of AI software for video has gone through such an evolution. And that's what we're going to have a look at today, which is that Google has released, it's like the word video, VEO, Veo. So it's like a short form of video, it's Veo. They've released Veo 3. There's so many numbers attached to these softwares, it starts to lose meaning. You're just like 4.1, 2.5, this and 3. You're like, it means nothing to me. And I agree with you. When I see these things, the numbers mean nothing to me, but the visuals say everything. So this is Flow from Google. This released, David, Monday. It's Thursday. It released Monday, I think. Monday or Tuesday. So this is absolutely the latest. And we'll continue to say these softwares between Google, Microsoft, Meta, X with Grok, Perplexity, ChatGPT. There's just this cycle of 5 or 6 companies that are releasing something each every 6 months. That's like every month there's this major leap. This is Flow.
and I was going to, Brad, I can show it live, just setting up the account from zero. Sorry, Brad.
Nice. Could you hear that? Could you hear that music?
Yes.
On the right path, but I'm trying to find it. I'm questioning, searching, and then something shifts and I'm not trying anymore. I'm just doing. And all of the pieces start falling into place.
It all feels pretty clear in my head. I see these like flashes of possibilities. almost like I'm traveling through dimensions. I'm looking down at myself and my characters in these different worlds, and it's almost coming to life on their own, even though I know I'm in control of that narrative. It feels like it's almost building upon itself at some point. You know, you could have an infinite amount of endings to your story.
So the work isn't built brick by brick by brick. It blooms like a spontaneous garden. It grows naturally, fully vibrant and complete.
I'm not forcing it. I'm just finding it. And that's when I know I'm in the right place.
So let's just sort of digest what we just saw. That is a text to video maker. Oh, I've got to get used to being here for a second. That is a text to video maker. So what they're showing you is you would type in a swimmer seemingly swims through the asphalt on a 2-lane highway in a rural forest. And then all of a sudden there was that swimmer swimming through the pavement, or, you know, a variety of people perform work in the back of a moving car, like clay pottery and construction work. Your ability to create a metaphor that sits in the minds of your audience, and I'll say that again, like a metaphor or an analogy is just a way of comparing two things. It's said to be the most memorable and most powerful way to get audiences to get your point. These tools give you a visual metaphor. They give you for $10, or even some of them are $250. You know, I've said this to other people, just get over this sticker shock of, oh my gosh, it's $250, and imagining the money they make, etc. And just think, like, are my competitors going to spend $250? And if there's 25 work days in a month and it's $10 a work day, all of a sudden you're just like, wait a minute, for $10 a day, I got this tool that made this thing that used to cost like $60,000 and take months, and instead it just took like half a day. Like, it's a shock how much has changed with these tools. There's creators like our friend Evan B. Stone, David, who are Hollywood professionals who are not saying, oh my gosh, you just took my job. Instead, he says, you just made my job. You just made me able to create something brand new that's wild.
For sure. And for, right, for, you know, I was speaking to a producer the other day who we showed him some of the stuff that Evan did for him. And it was just pretty incredible because he's still using his content that he filmed, but then he had one angle where it was looking up from the bottom of the well.
Yeah.
You need special cameras to shoot these things. Sometimes, you know, they don't have the budget for these things and just the imagination. So I think what we're going to see now is these top creative people in Hollywood, just like you've been doing, Brad, being able to say, oh, I know these AI tools now. Nothing's impossible. Let me expand what I want to do.
Nothing's impossible. That's a great point. Let's have a look at Microsoft. We don't often talk about Microsoft, but I know that there's a very large percentage of companies that are Microsoft companies. So this is May 19th. Today is May 22nd. So this is a couple days ago. Microsoft announces over 50 AI tools to build the Agentic Web. And this is the conference Build 2025. For people who see this and go, but is this real? Is this going to happen? There's guys like our friend Chris Cade out of Vancouver who's doing things for companies. He says he goes in and solves one problem, and he solves one problem really well. And he says, like, don't try to make your whole company AI. Don't try to say, like, here's a million things we're going to do. He just says, let's just find one bottleneck that we can solve, and we're going to use the tools you already use. Because there's people out there who think, like, I'm going to have to rip and replace all my software. I'm going to have to retrain all my employees. It's like, should you train your employees? Yeah, you should, but you don't have to totally extract everything you do systematically, because that's dramatic and that's not always the case. There's often the case that big companies like Microsoft and Google are going to create solutions within your company. What you might do is hire a consultant who comes in and says, the money that I charge, I'm going to save you more. So it's like you're still getting ahead. With agentic tools, you're finding a way to automate the things that you're doing or doing wrong. So these AI agents, they transform a software development through autonomous capabilities. So that means that it's running like electricity. It used to be the case you had to go build a windmill and like manage the flow of electricity, and now we've automated that. We're just like, you know what? The fridge stays cold. I don't have to monitor it. It just, as long as I close it, it's cold and I can open it and close it. And you stay cool that way. And I think with today's business, there's a lot of staying cool. There's a lot of saying like, okay, here's a task that I can keep my staff, employ all the same people, but I'm going to automate the things that we were doing. And it's very specific to the company. People are doing this with computer code, and the reason you use computer code in automation is to say, like, we sort of standardize the way websites look, we sort of standardize the way information flows, we email people, we send out social media. These are fairly standard roadways that have off ramps, right? If I can use an analogy. And with these automation tools, you can hire an expert for an exploration and just be like, let's just take one day and you can tell me what's possible. Could I save 6 figures? Could I save 7 figures? You don't have to say I'm going to save $100 million on these tools, but you can certainly save $50,000, $100,000 or more with the way they're being automated. Okay, so there's updates to these things at a constant rate. It's dizzying to keep up with, but don't let that stop you from joining one of them and saying, I'm going to pick one. If I save 50,000, but if I'd spent 6 months, I could have saved 75. You're like, just save 50,000 today. Go get someone that helps you with artificial intelligence software, whether it's security, whether it's the way you're governing your company's AI challenges. For people who don't know what that means, it means that you have a set of rules people follow. David, we talk about the stack or the ladder in artificial intelligence, which is that you're on the ground floor of a new technology and you want to climb up into using the technology. And what you should do is say, I'm going to start with the words. I'm going to have my entire team just learn what we're talking about. What does an agent mean? Does that mean it's like specific to me? Is it one thing? Is it many things? Once you learn just the foundational words, you can climb up into the rules. Now that you know the words you're talking about, you can have rules and say, here's who can use it, here's when they can use it, here's the things I need to keep safe, and here are the requirements that we have as a company. Then you can go and talk to someone and say, what are the off-the-shelf tools that exist? Now that we know the terminology, and now that we have a set of rules, I can never do this, I can sometimes do that, and I always want to do this. Then you can go out into the tools. So the words, then the rules, then the tools. And when people say AI governance, it's a fancy way of saying in-house rules. It's just assigning people and saying these 2 or 3 or 4 people are going to give us from a conference or from a committee or from some kind of tiger team, the set of rules that we need as a team. And then you're going to go to people like Microsoft or people like Google, right? Where Google just leapfrogged every competitor with mind-blowing AI that can think deeper, shop smarter, and create videos with dialogue. This is from May 20th. So on May 19th, Microsoft, and on May 20th, Google. These softwares, I keep moving my setup, David. My camera, I have to get fixed because normally I can just move my laptop without having to move the way we're looking at each other. It is the latest to see that Microsoft is releasing AI agents and that Google is changing the way they offer automations, the way they offer video tools. If you're deciding to sit and wait, you will get certainly left behind. And not only will you get left behind, you get left behind at an exponential rate, which means that every day is like 10 days because other people are out there reaching your audience. They're encroaching on your territory. They're communicating with the people you wanted to communicate with. And they're saying like, here, look, this is what we offer as a service, this is what we offer as a product. And we look modern and we look like we're using the things that people are expecting these days. So I can't emphasize enough that it's very important to keep up on the latest. And then you have access, David, because you have an American IP address. You have access to the Google Flow to show.
Definitely. So let me pull it up, and that's great, Brad. By the way, I think I didn't talk about it on our pre-call. I got a call from a client yesterday. Woman does an engineer, does a lot of like CAD drawings and for buildings and stuff. And what she told me was, I'd heard about AI, a year ago, and I said, oh, it's the negative things that kind of all got to her. Then most recently, she's like, this is everywhere. If I don't get it now, I'm going to get left behind. So now she wants to set up a coaching session and that type of thing. And I think that we're going to start seeing that more and more as these things blow up. So here's Veo. When you click try in Flow, you come right to this page, and then create with Flow. You're going to come here, do your login.
And I think it's labs.google.
Right.
Yeah, there's no .com after that because sometimes people think the .com is given. It's just labs, labs.google gets you to this selection page.
I'm going to say yes. I'll take their email about these things so we can keep all of our listeners current. I'm going to have to sign my life away here. And now let's start a new project. Did you have anything in mind, Brad? Let's start a new project.
Let's do something for Memorial Day because it's May. Can we do fireworks?
Generate how about generate a video with a group of people celebrating Memorial Day at Pismo Beach.
And can we make their smartphones shoot fireworks?
Right, or should we see if it does that itself? Because it's assuming it's Memorial Day. I guess that wouldn't be an obvious one. Have their cell phones shoot fireworks?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Let's see.
2-line text. Let me fix the typo. We don't want to confuse it. Not that that would.
Yeah.
And here we go.
So this is my first view at this as well. Like I said, I have the Canadian IP address. You have the American IP address.
Generation. Okay, let's see the video. The group of people. Failed generation. Let's try again.
Oh my goodness, live demonstrations. Oh no.
I wonder if fireworks would be a bad.
Oh.
Maybe. Let's see.
Is it offering based on phrasing?
No. Okay, so let's see. It's giving us another fail.
All right, yeah, maybe take
Let
fireworks.
me get rid of this last line.
Sure.
Maybe it has to be one line. No, maybe they're just down. This got out. I had like 6 people send this to me.
Yeah.
It's very possible it's just overloaded.
Um.
So
Okay.
we'll try one more time here. And then Brad, I don't know if you have something else. I could kind of try to work on this in the background.
Sure. Yeah. If you want, I can reshare my screen while we do that.
Yeah, take over, do something. Let me see if I can get this working.
So as I was saying, this is labs.google. Right, Google Labs, the URL labs.google. And that was, well, let's go back there. That was Flow that we were looking at. Project Mariner is new as well. So it's pretty amazing, right? You can use it to browse your computer, right? And you can give it tasks, right? And I think you need, this is, oh, yeah, to start switching accounts. This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, I found the fail, by the way.
Oh, you found it?
Be a Google AI subscriber.
Yeah.
To use it, but I thought I got that automatically with my Google Suite.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. There's like, you might have a personal account and then a business account. I've been learning this myself. If I go to create with Flow, it says it's not available in my country, but I could watch Flow TV. Could I watch Flow TV? I could watch Flow TV. So this is what people are creating, right? And I can click show prompt. Right? So this was it was a herd of little rocks. So I guess we're just watching the channel. So this is like YouTube now. And if you wanted to, you could say what they were saying and copy and paste it. So these are VO2s. This isn't even VO3 yet. Like VO3 has only been out a couple of days, so very few people have created with VO3. One of the cool things is that VO3 has sound as well. So if we go to videos and look at, I don't know, this one right here.
This ocean, it's a force, a wild, untamed might. And she commands your awe with every breaking light.
You know, it's really impressive. These tools are just continuing to impress. Stitch came to my attention as well. Right? And Stitch is a way to design a user interface, which is to say the thing I'm going to look at like an app. So the look of an app. And then you can export the code. So you don't have to know how to code. You can just say, here's my product or service. Here are the details I want to offer. And then I'm going to paste that out to someone that I got on Fiverr or Upworks or some, you know, virtual assistant. And then you can build it. And it's available now free of charge. And that's for people 18 and over. So I wonder if I can do this in Canada too. Sometimes I can. Okay. So I'm going to say, describe my design. What kind of app are we going to make, David? We're going to say it's mobile responsive. So it responds to different phones. I'm taking my cue from these prompts right here. An e-commerce homepage for a, what are we going to make here? What's a May, June kind of thing for a, let's say for a beekeeper who sells fresh honey.
Excuse me.
We'll see if we can get some buzz with this. So we'll do this in real time. It's interesting to see these tools like the very first time. These are very new tools. Standard mode. I wonder if I should have clicked a different mode. So we've gotten so accustomed in the AI software era to like near instant results that you got to think back a few years. If something took 5 minutes, you were like, oh, wow, it only took 5 minutes. This used to take all afternoon or weeks. But look at that in an instant. It's designed for me, this layout, which we're sort of getting used to. I have to say, there are the people who say like, you know, I've seen this before. I don't know if you've seen it like this. So you can most certainly change out these images, but it shows you could have a headline image, a scroll of products, customer reviews, etc. And then if I wanted to, I could export this Figma, right? And I think if I go to Miro, I think Miro can do Figma. And if I just say a blank board and I don't want a template, I'm going to guess because it says I could just paste it. It should work. I hope it works. Is it going to work? Or maybe I have to go to Figma. It's been a minute since I've used Figma. I don't know how much Figma you've used.
Not much.
It's a little bit outside my space. Okay, I've got a couple things here. Can I do a design? Let's see if I can just paste this in here. There it is. Look at that. So I just pasted that in. So now if I'm designing a project, I can share this with somebody and say, here's my vision. And as you guys saw, that was like a couple of seconds. Like that just took a couple of seconds. And you could go to Figma. I have a free account in Figma. That's a brand new tool from Google called Stitch, right? And this could be anything. But for people who just say like, gosh, I'm working on this project and I just want to be able to show it to someone, Figma is one of the pipeline tools to get people towards a final product, which is an app where people can browse and pay, etc. David, you said you got the flow going?
No, I didn't. It wouldn't let me because even though we have a Google account for my company, my Google user account, it wouldn't let me turn it on through that.
You know, some of these tools, they take a minute. They're just getting ramped up. I think for the latest, I want to emphasize virtual assistants. And I want to say for clarity, there are people who are available to be your assistant. They are remote or virtual. They're real people. These are not AI agents. These are real people who do not want to come to your office and drink a coffee and, you know, get a salary. They're just willing to be an assistant to your efforts on what they call a fractional basis. So it's like having an employee who's not near you, who will be not wanting 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year. They're called virtual assistants. And from what I understand, there are some very high quality, university educated people who speak very clearly in the language of your choice, whether they're in the country of yours or in a different country. It's my understanding, David, and maybe you have experience with this, that these people are university educated, they speak English very well, they're great with computers. And what you can do is say, here are these latest softwares I heard about. I want you to learn this software and then perform this task for our company and just focus on this. And what you end up doing is you end up getting tens of thousands of dollars of work for tens of dollars, like literally tens of dollars.
It's unreal how just the talent that's out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great people. I had and it's like AI agents I've been trying to build, and I've worked with one of my friends' virtual assistants, and phenomenal. So that's next on my list, to get a virtual assistant. They can support me with things, and they'll have ideas that I'm not thinking about. Sometimes your head's down in your business and you're just overlooking things. So yeah, excited for all of that.
The great thing about a virtual assistant, you can get people in your own country to be your virtual assistant. There are parts of your own country that aren't as expensive to live in as New York City or Los Angeles or Houston or Chicago. People who live in those urban city sprawls with high rents and high mortgages and high grocery bills, etc., they want a higher rate only because they live near the expensive stuff. There are people who also went to the same school who just live in a less populated or less expensive, on a daily expense level, a less expensive place. It's something worth exploring to get a consultant and say, okay, here's my budget. I don't know the words. I don't know the rules. I don't know the tools, but I have an audience. I have a product and have an idea. You're well within reach. And, if you want to reach out to David or I, we can help you with that and connect you to the right people. There are ways to solve your problems that you never thought of because they didn't exist 72 hours ago or 12 days ago, which is why I think people watch the latest, is to go, okay, I see what you're saying, is like I'm much nearer from idea to solution with a bit of creativity, and saying I'm going to hire a team, I'm going to take a little bit of time to train them, and then I'm going to say, focus on this tool and use it for 1 month. I paid $30 and I'm going to pay you $15 an hour. And for 10 hours, you're going to get $150 in fees and maybe a $250 software bill. So for $400, you might get someone to work for 10 hours. And then in that 10 hours, they might do like 500 hours of work. Like what used to take forever, now you could get someone to spend an hour setting up the AI agent. And then the AI agent could work all day for you. Right? And they just come back and monitor it tomorrow for $15 and then monitor it the next day. And you go, hold on a second. I got an AI agent to do 10 people's work 24/7. And I just paid someone $150 to monitor it. That's the next level thinking that you're going to see in your industry, is that someone says, but the quality's not there, Brad. It's not there yet. I say, you're right. But you could pay someone $15 an hour to take any of these tools and then find the one thing that is of quality, or find a way to edit just the things that are quality. And that used to cost, David, it used to cost tens of thousands of dollars to output these things. People who have an audience and say, okay, I'm going to put an ad campaign out. They didn't do it for $250. You're in such a fortunate position if you have an idea and an audience to reach them. So I think that's my latest, is this connection that AI agents are now coming through Microsoft and through Google. This is new from Monday. So since the latest, this is the latest. Connecting those dots through a consultant who's going to guide you is probably your best bet, and say, I'll bite the bullet, I'll pay a couple grand for a consultant, but then they're going to lay out a roadmap where my $5,000 or $10,000 investment turns into like a 90-day sprint that I'm going to do in a week. And I'm going to be able to generate revenue like next week. It's such a leap.
I agree. And I think for everybody out there, again, it's not, we're bringing you, Brad and I are heads deep in this to educate the communities we run, keep everybody up to date. But I think for everybody out there wanting to dip into AI or just starting to get going, it's not about I need to know every tool because that seems overwhelming. It's really about what is my workflow?
Yeah.
Which tools, which 2 or 3 tools can I use to, again, start with cutting 5 hours out of your work week because you're able to speed. Then you'll do more. Then you'll do more. And by the next thing you know, you're going to have an army out there, right? And I think as we look at Agentic, which is not just the agents, but the agents that run the agents, it's all going very quickly. So
Yeah. And even at the practical level, David, if you've been watching the latest regularly, you show us your workflow of saying, I'm on a Zoom call, just speaking out my thoughts. I'm going to take my recorder, my transcript software, and I'm going to process that through something like Gamma, which is a presentation software. So I've been having a conversation. We had ideas. I recorded it with 1 click or even no clicks, right? My recorder just shows up to the meetings because I've given it permission. So I don't even have to do anything. It shows up. It's a software you can use. I use Otter. There's Read.ai. There's Fireflies. There's a handful of brand names that are, I'd say they're comparable. You might like one particular feature, but otherwise, I don't think you dip below a quality standard. You bring that transcribed text, which again is like 1 click, just download the transcription. And David, as you showed us, you take it over to your favorite presentation software, which makes slide decks and presentations, gamma.app, GAMMA.app, and which, by the way, if you watch our other podcast, The Catch Up, AI Catch Up, the AI Catch Up covered Gamma yesterday from a very user-friendly standpoint. Even though we're advanced users, we offered up a catch up if you were a brand new user and walked you through what does this look like if you've never heard of it and you didn't want to watch someone click around like a wizard. I want to see someone guide me through it just nicely into the door. David, you do that great workflow where you take the transcript from the meeting we're in, including this one. You go over to Gamma and you just say, make this a presentation, and you 1 click it and say, make this a LinkedIn post. And all of a sudden you've engaged with your entire community on the thoughts you have with the visual through social media. Those kinds of workflows are entry points. And I strongly encourage anybody to continue watching the latest, start watching the AI catch up if you want to get caught up. Reach out to us. We're accessible people. We're happy to be there for you and help you get where you need to be, because this is the internet or email or mobile phone of our generation. For anybody that remembers life before smartphones, before email, and before internet, we didn't have any of this stuff. And now that we do, there's no going back. And AI software is the same way. This is not a fad. This is fully entrenched into the technology of the future.
for sure. And we're having the second Gamma Power Hour that starts 9 a.m. Pacific this morning. Brad, I'm not going to do the workflow today right now with our deck because I thought I'd just demo that at the Gamma Power Hour today.
Yeah.
I am going to just dump the transcript into ChatGPT, say, give me a description with time codes for the session we just did now, so people will see that as they watch.
Yeah.
And that's the latest. So don't want to overload everybody. We'll see you next week. I'm sure we'll have new things to discuss and just going deeper, right?
Yeah.
There was a new song, there was a new music AI that came out this week that I think Michael was all excited about, right?
That was really good. Yeah. If I can look real quick, he put those in the group chat the other day. And they were tremendous. They were lyrics that sounded like they were written and not generated by artificial intelligence. Did he use Udio?
No, he didn't use either of those. He had a new one.
He had a new
It's
one.
like, I'm like, didn't you know about Udio or Suno? But it's new things, and people, even Michael, that's extremely savvy, is hadn't I don't think he had used Suno or Udio too much, right? But it just depends on when you're there looking at it. So
He might have done that Tuesday night.
yeah, I think so.
Um,
Or maybe it was early Thursday morning. So I think he was on a all-nighter because he got so sucked into the music.
yeah, I'm just looking. I know this is like dead air. It was Lyria, Lyria, from DeepMind Google. So this is
Right.
Google's new model from DeepMind Google called Lyria. For anybody that likes to try these things, they seem like toys until you realize that the very playful people are capturing the audiences everywhere by just having fun with them, like our friend Dr. Harvey.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's the latest. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll see you during the week. Next week on the latest or the catch up. Remember, the catch up, 10 a.m. Pacific every Wednesday. The latest, 6:30 a.m. every Thursday. Brad, have a great week.